Today, I want to talk to you about something that will really help you with learning English. It's this. So a little while back, we got a question from somebody on Facebook who asked, how can I keep motivated studying English every day? And that's the question that I would like to answer for you right now and talk to you about motivation. So this video lesson could be very useful for both English teachers as well as English learners.
Well, first what we have to do is find out what motivates people more than anything else.
So when it comes to language learning, there are two types of motivation: intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Now, both of these can be important to a learner's success at varying stages. So let's first take a look at intrinsic motivation. There, okay. So intrinsic motivation is learning a language because you really want to. You have a strong desire to learn the language, and everything comes from within. Some examples of intrinsic motivation might be you're getting ready to travel or go live abroad and you really want to learn the language so you can talk and communicate with other people. Another might be a job opportunity that is available and you may need to speak or be proficient in this language or that language in order to have a chance at it. Another example might be you want to talk with girls who speak that language. So for example, when I was first learning Spanish, I was getting ready to go live in another country. And yeah, that's the reason. Okay, maybe, I figured it would be nice to be able to meet some other people, maybe some girls. Hola, mi amor, tú eres mi vida, mi corazón. Tu sonrisa es brillante como una estrella. Okay, to be honest, it didn't work whatsoever, but it did motivate me to learn the language, and that's my point. These are all intrinsic motivations that come from within. Intrinsic motivation is very important because if you don't have it, it's a lot more difficult to learn the language, because that just means nothing from within is truly motivating you to learn more, to want to learn more, and to try to improve.
I told you I can only show you the door. You have to walk through it.
So if you're not sure what type of intrinsic motivation you may have, you should try to identify it. And you can do this by thinking about things that you are honestly interested in. Maybe you're interested in cars, maybe you're interested in cooking. And you can use these other interests to provide some kind of intrinsic motivation for learning the language and using those language skills. Next, let's take a look at extrinsic motivation. Now, this type of motivation is when some external or outside factor is motivating you to learn the language. Maybe you're doing it for some type of external reward, or maybe you're even doing it to avoid some sort of negative consequence.
You people have not given Private Pyle the proper motivation.
An example of an extrinsic motivation might be a language that you have to learn at school. In my own case, when I was in high school, I took German. I took 4 years of German, and now I really don't know much.
You sprechen Sie English?
And I think a lot of other people can relate to this, that when they were younger and in school, they were required to study this language or that language. And now as they've gotten older, they don't really remember as much because they didn't have an intrinsic motivation at the time to want to learn that language. Another example of an extrinsic motivation might be preparing for an exam. They're doing it just because they have to, because it is a requirement for university or it is a requirement for work. So when you only have an extrinsic motivation, then it does become a little more challenging to try and learn another language.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
Hamburger.
A hamburger.
Hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
Maybe we should stop.
We don't quit. We do not quit. Again.
Let's take a look at both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation and compare the two, because they do go hand in hand to some extent. Intrinsic motivation, I said, is super important because the motivation comes from within. And because of that, people are more likely to stay with what they're learning. They're not going to give up. They're going to keep trying to reach new goals. As for extrinsic motivation, a lot of times this helps us get started because we don't all try to learn something new on our own. Often there are external or outside factors that are pushing us in this direction or that direction. So extrinsic motivation can really be useful in getting the ball rolling and get us moving forward. But once we start moving forward, then we need to really find what motivates us intrinsically. What are some motivations from within? And once we find that, it's just going to help us reach our educational goals, and it's going to help us get to the level of proficiency that we would like to have. It's no surprise that a lot of times in classroom settings, teachers will rely on extrinsic motivation in the form of some sort of reward.
Today we have a very special treat.
You just don't want rewards to become the sole driving force behind a student's motivation. The real key is to understand your students, try to understand their interest, and use that to motivate them intrinsically, because the extrinsic motivation will only take them so far. So whether you are a teacher trying to work with other English learners, or whether you're an English learner and you just want to find it on your own, ask yourself, why are you doing this? Getting a job, going to university, traveling, learning and understanding people of different cultures, dating. It's not what I do, but hey, what is motivating you to learn this language? What are some things that can motivate you? What are some of the interests that you already have? And use that to help better your language skills. I hope you have a better idea as to the role motivation plays in learning another language. So now I'd like to hear from all of you. So in the comments, let us know what is motivating you to learn English. Is your motivation intrinsic, or is it extrinsic, or is it a little of both? Oh, and want to remind you to join our social media classes. It is another great way to practice and improve your English skills and can be used as a form of intrinsic motivation because a lot of us are using social media anyway. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.